Nation Newry, it's the morning programme. Good morning, Newry and Mourne, and the great wide watching world out there. I'm Rowan Hand, your host through until 10:30 Irish time this morning. Marcas Macruairi is with me, and you're so welcome, Marcas.
Thank you, Rich. It's good to be back in Newry.
Yeah, it's good to have you here. You're a Downpatrick man.
Yeah, but I've spent many a time in Newry. I used to work here, so it's good to be back.
What sort of work did you do in Newry?
I was with the Newry Democrat.
Were you?
For a bit, yeah.
For goodness sake.
I remember yourself coming in from time to time.
Oh, sure, now.
To drop the articles in.
My problem is that I don't remember as well, but that's to do with my 10.
Yeah,
Nothing more than that,
I think I'm on your heels.
You're far from it, I tell you. But you're very much, you're the organiser of the relay. It's the President's Message of Hope, and it's in some measure a prime device for promoting the well-being of the Irish language.
Sure. Well, as you know, there's something like 6,500 languages in the world, and it's estimated during the course of this 100 years we're in that we could lose anything between 50 and 75% of those languages. So, and it's recognised that all these languages sort of have a contribution to make to our global heritage and to the richness of ourselves, and even a contribution to science. And throughout Europe, there's many minority and threatened languages, and we are doing this relay run around Ireland to promote the Irish language, and it's based on a model that was developed in the Basque Country, where they do a biannual relay run to raise money to support the Basque language. And in their last run, for example, they raised €1 million, which is used to bankroll a lot of the classes for adults in Basque.
Yeah, that's interesting. And on this occasion, the President has got involved with you.
Sure.
How was it difficult to get the President to say, "There's my stamp on it"?
No, well, actually, this is our third run. We did a run in 2010 and one in 2012. On each of those previous occasions, the President was happy enough to give us a message of hope. And we have gone and had a baton specially designed, and there's a hollow in the baton which we can open up and place the President's message inside at the start of the run. And we're going to get one of the young school children in Cork to do that when we start on this Friday.
This Friday starting in Cork?
Sure, yeah. And the baton will then be passed round Ireland, kilometre by kilometre. Schools and clubs and individuals and community groups will buy a kilometre and, if you like, guard and run with the President's message and pass it on to the next group. And it'll be coming to Newry on the morning of the 14th of March.
Well, we need to take a note of that, because we're here from 7:30 in the morning, live. We need to do something to mark that passage through Newry, so we'll talk to you about that. But it's a mighty feat of organisation, Marcas.
It is. I've had a few sleepless nights, and if things can go wrong, they will go wrong. Yeah. But this is our third time at this, as I mentioned, and we have a strong committee behind it, and a pleasure to work with. And I think that we can pull it off once again successfully. When we come to Newry, it'll come through Armagh. We'll have come from Cork up the east coast and cut it in west, and come in through Fermanagh and Tyrone, and then back down through Armagh to Newry, and the following day we go on through Downpatrick and into Belfast, where the baton will be opened up.
It's also interesting that you're going from Newry to Downpatrick, because that's the new unity that's existing in our local government scenario.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. Newry, this is an Irish language event, and Newry's recognised for the support that it's given to the language over the years. And for us Irish speakers from the eastern part of the county, we're looking forward to being able to be part of that vibrant community that you have in Newry.
Yeah, Marcas, I have to say to you, I have some experience of travelling in Wales, not a lot. But you cannot travel in Wales without being magnificently impressed in their dedication to the Welsh language, to Welsh culture, music, poetry, the Eisteddfods and all of that. We're not really fit to tie their bootlaces in Wales. They're way ahead of us.
In certain aspects they are. As it happens, this particular project, the Run, as I mentioned, we've developed this, we've taken this concept from the Basque Country. They're also doing a run in Brittany, and the Welsh have actually come to us for advice on organising a run there. So we're working closely with them. I suppose there are the particular circumstances in Wales where they've managed to maintain the language. And there's a different history, not so checkered as ours. And that
well, it's very strong. It's very strong.
That has left the Welsh language in a very strong position in the west and the north of Wales, and certainly they have a strength that we can envy. And but we can learn from each other too.
Absolutely. If you were to parachute onto the Isle of Man, for example, first of all, you escape the attentions of the sea god Manannán. And there's the beginning of the Manx tradition and culture. They love the notion that Manannán clouds them in mist to keep enemies at bay.
Sure,
but then when you're in, the mist comes down to stop you getting out again. They want to keep you. But they too they would almost kill for the right nuance in the song or whatever. They're very, very proud of it. How are we in Ireland in this matter of the health of the language?
I place a lot of faith in the community, and the work that I do takes me all over the country, and I'm meeting people who in a voluntary capacity are working in their local communities to promote the language. And certainly outside of the Gael-talked areas, we have many reasons and lots of reasons to be optimistic. In the Gael-talked areas, they're under pressure, and we need to do a lot of work to ensure that the vibrancy of the language will continue in the Gael-talked areas. I suppose to ensure the richness of a language from generation to generation, the core place to have it spoken is in the family. And there are many families outside of the Gael-talked area where Irish is the main medium of conversation and dialogue in the home. In the Gael-talked areas, that is under pressure, and we need to be taking measures now to ensure that those families in the Gael-talked have whatever supports they need.
I suppose in some ways, health in Gael-talks, there's the risk of ghettoizing the language, that you put it into Gael-talked here and Gael-talked there. But outside of the Gael-talked, there is no language, and the real health ought to be the spread across the land, because we know what happens in ghettos. It's a precursor to death in many cases.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, the pattern is that in the large urban areas across the island, that there are growing and strong Irish-speaking communities.
Yes.
Irish-speaking youth clubs, Irish schools, families that speak Irish.
There's a strong one in
Newry. There's networks. However, I suppose more than anything, the West has been blighted by emigration, and really that immigration has taken its toll on the language over the generations, and we're still haunted by that.
Yeah, it's still there. So your interest in it, your family interest, yes?
Yeah, well, I come from an English-speaking family, but I've raised my own children speaking Irish, and it has been a very enriching experience for them.
How is their Irish? It's strong?
Well, they teach me sometimes. My nephew was correcting me the other day on things that I was saying, and my own daughter will passes words on to me sometimes, and I'm struggling. What's the Irish for this?
That's beautiful.
She can correct me.
Yeah, I have to ask you, how is their English?
Their English is perfect.
Does one exclude the other? Are they?
No, not at all.
Are they complementary?
They are complementary, and indeed, if I'm allowed to generalise, quite often children who go to Irish-speaking schools, when they're reaching the latter years in primary school education, their English tends to be better than the English of children who have just gone to a monolingual school through the medium of English. I suppose the young mind, the child's mind is open to soak up languages, and they come to understand the concepts of language and how languages are put together in a very natural way without realising it themselves. Yeah. And that means that their command of the English tends to be better.
It must do your heart good to see members of the Protestant community involving themselves in the Irish language now.
It does indeed. The language doesn't belong to anybody. It belongs to us all. And as I mentioned earlier, there's loads of languages in the world, and they all enrich us. They all have a contribution to make culture, to literature, and in many aspects to science, but which a lot of people sort of don't realise. Quite often, we're at school, we tend to think that languages are one way forward for young people, and other people go a scientific road. But they both complement each other, and science can learn from languages, and there's much science locked up in the languages that are under threat.
And also, you know, if you think about it, humanity in its evolutionary process developed these languages as a consequence of their location, of their experiences, and that's in some part a scientific expedition, if you like, in a linguistic scientific journey. And if we lose any of those languages, we're losing the whole matrix of life that led to the development of the language. And that would be a cruel loss.
Oh, it would be. I have a friend from Newry. He's a marine biologist, Remy Mathers, and he was telling me an interesting story once that during the years of the Celtic Tiger, when the Irish government had lots of money to spend, they brought a lot of the top marine biologists in the world together to put together a scheme to protect the salmon in the rivers in the west of Ireland. And they, as you know, the salmon is under threat, and it is making some progress since, I suppose, based on this scheme. But they were poring over the maps, wondering where best to implement a pilot scheme to protect the salmon. And this marine biologist from Newry was brought into the room, and he says, go to this river, the Claddagh River, and these scientists were all taken aback. Why do you say that there? And he was able to say, well, Claddagh, it's an Irish word, and it means the river's got a rocky bottom. The salmon love that. So through his knowledge of the Irish language, he was able to use it in science. And there's loads of other anecdotes that I could share, you know, to show how science contributes to or language contributes to science.
Marcus, then remind us when we can see the relay coming through Newry.
Okay, well, the relay will last for 9 days, and it will start on the 7th of March in Cork.
That's Friday.
That's Friday. It'll be coming through Newry the following Friday. Late morning, lunchtime, and we will come in through Camlock and down the old bypass, down the Armagh Road, and we hope to be met at the Town Hall by an official welcome with the Council and the Mayor before we continue on towards Warren Point, Rostrevor and Hilltown.
Is it the case that your relay people will be staying perhaps overnight on the Thursday night in Newry and then going off on the Friday?
No, they will have stayed there. They'll have started that morning on Armagh City, and they'll have stayed in the Armagh area. On the Friday night, they will get as far as Castlewellan, and we're planning to have a street festival in Castlewellan. We have music planned in the top square with a gig rig and some good Irish language acts.
You guys know how to enjoy yourselves.
Well, you have to enjoy yourself,
Marcus Macruairi, thank you.
Gurmila Meogat.
Gurmila Meogat. And a lovely greeting in Irish is the answer to it is, no, it's Conastatu, Tamega Moi, and then there's the one about Giadich.
Gias Morigit.
Yeah, God bless you.
And God
May
and
God
Mary.
and Mary bless you.
Correct, yes.
That's very, very cultural for a lot of people on this island.
It is, yeah.
It's a lovely greeting too.
Yeah, it's very spiritual.
Yeah, very spiritual. It's there almost with the lovely Hindu greeting of Namaste. You know, I respect the God within you.
Yeah,
that's great.
Excellent.
Marcus, go well. We'll play some music.